insurance has been around since 1583.
Okay.
So, and when I speak to people now, it's like, oh, I didn't know, especially our people. It's like, how do we not know about something that's been around for nearly, 500 years?
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what's happening then?
So
you know what's happening back then. So the insurance wasn't for us. Yeah, we're shackled. Yeah. They wouldn't have given us regardless. They would have scammed us.
It was shackled. Yeah. So you then went to you then went into this job that you was working. The gentleman decided to buy a property in Tunbridge Wells, and then you decided that at this point, what was your conclusion at this point when you found out about this guy whose dad didn't die for free? Yeah.
So his granddad.
Yeah, his granddad.
Yeah, like I didn't realize. So this is the game that's been played all this time. That when I watch Homes Under the Hammer and I see Jamie and Katie, 21 and 18, coming to do a whole 50 grand refurb. It's like, where's the money coming from? Like, what what work are you doing? Because I'm working 2-3 jobs. I'm not seeing that. And it's like, okay, so you've got people that are thinking 3 or 4 generations
ahead.
Sorry to
interrupt you. I'm happy that you got this right, because when he threw out a date, and I just wanted to just check. The first known life insurance policy in England was issued in 1583.
I know what I'm talking about.
No, I just wanted to, just so that I wasn't listening before. Now I'm just going to set up further.
Because who had the first life insurance? Maybe it was a king or something.
I don't know, but the first life insurance policy was set up in England in 1583, which was exactly the date. So now I can sit up properly, because when sometimes people will throw numbers, and you're like, I thought, let me just check, because I was going to pull you up. I apologise to interrupt you, but he's fully correct. He's
all across the leg for you,
I know,
And he's all twiddling it as well,
No, I'm just saying that he's...
There's no questions now that he knows that.
Now I sit up now, because it shows that it makes sense now for those who are watching to actually really listen, because he's not just throwing out dates and numbers. Clearly he's done his work.
Oh no, they do their Googles.
I'm just saying.
You slip up once by accident, they're onto you.
No, it's good though. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to like mess your trail of thought, but yeah, carry on. Sorry.
As I said, yeah. So this is the game that was being played. So then it dawned on me that, hold on. So you're telling me that everyone or most people, where it applies, you're 1 generation away from a £2 million inheritance. Because let's think about it. Everyone has 2 parents, and they got 2 parents each. That's your grandparents.
Yeah.
But most people, if obviously you're not an orphan or anything like that, So if you're saying, right, if all your grandparents pass away and have $500,000 life insurance, that's 2 million in your lifetime, likely.
Yeah.
Now you think about the impacts that would have on your life if your parents were to come into £2 million tax free.
I know it sounds a bit sinister, because I know some people are going to be listening, because especially with black people, they don't like to talk about life insurance because it seems very morbid. But the reality is there's 2 things that's definitely certain in life. One is you're going to pay your taxes, and 2, you're going to die. Like there's no other way to escape it. So I know sometimes you hear and you're thinking, hold on, why is this guy talking about death and saying you're missing out on money? Your parents are going to die.
You got life insurance, Gabs?
I do, yeah, from a long time. And I've got critical illness cover as well. Yeah. And I've now got business insurance, which basically is I need to read the policy properly though, but it's meant to cover me in case, let's say I don't know, God forbid my leg gets chopped off or the business goes to shit. I can get paid out. But I need to read the policy properly. But I know I've definitely got life insurance, and I've got critical illness cover. Yeah. Now, in regards to where you're talking about having like 4 generations, technically having mum, dad, grandma and granddad. So what you're saying in essence is that the role that you play now is to what? Is to kind of sell people insurance, or is it to educate people on how to? Because I think the biggest problem now I hear a lot of is inheritance tax, and I'm not too clued up about it. So I wish you can explain more to the people on screen. Now, am I right in saying that what inheritance tax is let's say you've got a property. Let me get it out of the way. Let's say Darren's got a property, and let's say Darren passes away. That property has got 400 grand equity in it. Yeah. Now, I'm Darren's son, so I now want that property to take to myself. What happens in that scenario? So explain that scenario. So there's 400 grand equity in that property. Darren's died and passed away. I'm Darren's son. I want to get that property. So in that scenario, how does this work? How can people be educated in a way to avoid having to pay that huge inheritance tax? And also, what are the ins and outs that we need to look out for when taking out life insurance?
Cool. So, what's the total value of the property first? Because that will determine.
Let's say the total value is 600 grand, and let's say it was bought at 200 grand.
Okay, cool. And is Darren's dad, is he married or is it just him?
Let's say he's just him.
Just him. Cool.
Just him.
So this is what happens. Everyone gets an inheritance tax allowance of 325 grand off the bat, right? Once
Is that the equity?
no, well, as in the totality, your totality of your estate can be worth 325 grand that you can pass on without being taxed. So that's your allowance.
So if the property was worth 300k, then there's no tax to pay. Or am I wrong in suggesting that?
You're right in suggesting that, but I'll tell you the reason why.
Okay.
So off the bat, all of us here, if we were to pass away and we had kids and we wanted to pass on wealth, we could pass on 325 grand off the bat. Once you have property, you're given an additional 175 grand. So that takes your total allowance to $500,000.
Okay.
Now, if you're married, it's joint. So that would be $1 million now.
Okay.
Now, in your case, because you said that it's Darren's dad and it's just him, because he's got 600 grand worth of asset to pass, that 100k difference is going to be taxed at 40%.
Okay, so that's
which
basically
will be
40k
grand.
gone. Okay.
Right. Now, what he would want to do to avoid all that is one of two things. One, put his property in a trust if it's paid off in a mortgage. Like there's no mortgage on it.
There's no mortgage on the house.
So he would want to put it in a trust to mitigate other things.
Is that before he's passed away or
yeah,
after?
before because once he's passed away, it's over.
Yeah.
So way before he's passed away, especially maybe at least 7 years. Then on top of that, if he knows that the inheritance tax will likely be paid, if he was what a lot of wealthy people do to mitigate that, you take out a life insurance policy.
Okay.
Because you already know that they're gonna come and collect this 40 grand. Now it's gonna go 2 ways. That very asset, your kid's gonna now have to sell it just to end up paying. And then when they sell it, they're gonna get slapped with capital gains tax on top of that. Now you don't want that. So that 40k that you know that the government's gonna call for, why don't you have a life insurance policy that pays out your child whatever, and then they'll have that cash ready to pay the government.
Okay, as we're doing step by step, I just want people to, because as they're watching, I always like to think of people as being ignorant. So I'm ignorant to this. So as you're talking, I'm going to interrupt you in places just to get an explanation or something. So so we're going to stick with this scenario where Darren's passed away. Okay, the son wants the property. The property is worth 600 grand. It's been paid off for outright. Now, because he has a 500k allowance because of the property, there's going to be a 40% payment on that 100k. So 40k is gone.
40k is gone.
Now, you then said if Darren wants to get that property now and now wants to sell it, you said there's capital gains tax.
Correct.
Okay. Now, do you know what the percent of capital gains tax is, and why are we paying inheritance tax and capital gains tax?
Cool. Great question. You're paying capital gains tax, one, because there's capital that's been gained on an investment, being the property. So that's its own situation.
Okay.
The capital gains tax would be paid, let's say if you bought a house today, sold it, next year and made a profit, you'd be paying that. Regardless.
Okay.
So just because you just added inheritance now into the equation, that's why two things are happening. Now with capital gains tax, the maximum boy, I mean, I'm saying this now at this time when it's recorded. Keir Starmer's already thinking of making it 39%, but the maximum within property, I think, can be between 18 and 28% max.
Okay.
And the lowest can be around, say, 10 to 13%.
Okay.
Now, that's because obviously you've gained. The property's appreciated, right?
Yeah.
You've just appreciated by 400 grand. That's a tax in itself, and then you've passed it to your kid. That's a tax in itself. Now, you could gift it to him, whilst Darren's dad could gift it to him whilst he's alive, but he just can't die in 7 years.
Okay, so basically, if that property is given to Darren's child and he stays alive for 7 years, okay, then there's no inheritance tax to pay.
But you see, that's the gambling risk that you don't know when it's going to happen.
Okay, the only thing you'd have to pay though is the capital gains tax.
Literally, if he would have to pay the capital gains tax upon sale.
Okay, so basically the caveat for all of those watching now, just time it and look after your parents well, so that when the property is passed on to you, you've got 7 years buffer.
So what if he dies like 364 days before the 7th year?
Oh, he's upset, bro.
Don't die!
Something like that.
Dad, wake up!
24 hours. 24, Dad.
Wouldn't even tell no one, man. Just keep quiet for like 24 hours. We'll stay in the house like this.
Yep.
Yeah. Tomorrow we'll tell them.
Yeah, but something like that, it would just make sense to have an insurance policy, which they will do. So obviously you're into basketball. Kobe Bryant had a $12 million insurance policy.
Okay.
Imagine all the wealth he has. So that's why I always get baffled. Like it's like, so if Kobe Bryant and Nipsey Hussle that have wealth have life insurance. Why don't you?
It's always, life insurance is always puzzling.
No, but
me.
you know what it is? Yeah, some people, yeah, you say why don't you? Yeah, even though you might say, oh yeah, it might be only this amount per month. That little every month, yeah, it makes a difference for a lot of people. You know, like you get the same people message you saying, "Rock, can I borrow your Disney Plus code?" I'm being serious. That little, you know what I mean? I never had life insurance until my mom died. I never had no life insurance. When my mom passed, straight away, like literally, maybe like weeks later, that's when I got life insurance. Because I thought to myself, rah, it can go left. But before that, I never used to think about it. Don't need this, you know? So for them, like that little difference, it adds up.